Hello guys, so as I told you yesterday, welcome to our first class. This is going to be about fish, which is the first group of vertebrates that we are going to study. So just pay some attention, it's not going to take long, and I hope it's going to be interesting for you. So as I told you yesterday, just remember we have 5 groups of vertebrates, and for learning them easily, you can remember these words, that vertebrates, they live on farm B. F for fish, A for amphibians, R for reptiles, M for mammals, B for birds. So as we saw today, this is going to be our first mind map, where you organize the 5 groups, 5, so you have the hand, 5 fingers, 5 groups of vertebrates, so you have them here. We are going to start with fish. So what are fish like? So certainly they are not like this. Fish, they are exclusively aquatic vertebrates. They only live in the water. They can live on salty water, they can live on fresh water, but they live just on water. All their characteristics, which we are going to study, make them especially suited for living in the water. What are the main characteristics of fish? Well, they have protective scales along their body. They have a body shape which is designed for having less resistance while swimming in the water, and they have fins that help them swim. They breathe through gills, so they extract the dissolved oxygen from the water, and they are ectothermic. What does it mean that they are ectothermic? That means that they are cold-blooded. It means that their body temperature depends on the temperature of the environment they are living on. So they can control their own body temperature. Another characteristic of the fish is a unique sense organ called the lateral line. So you have it here. You see this dotted line here, which is a bit darker. This is the lateral line. This is more or less like the ears of the fish. It doesn't mean that they hear with this lateral line, but it means that they sense water movements and vibrations through this line. They have little holes. In those holes, water enters, and they touch a set of nerves which are situated along this line, and that helps them feel their environment. So it works a bit like their hearing. So this is called the lateral line. What about the nutrition in fish? So most fish, they are carnivores. They prey. Some of them, they are predators. Others are scavengers, and they feed on dead fish or dead animals. But other fishes, they are herbivores or even omnivores. Reproduction in fish. Fish reproduce sexually, but through external fertilization. The female fish lay the eggs, and then the male fish comes over them and spreads the sperm over them and then fertilize them. So most of fish, they are oviparous, they lay eggs, and here you have all these eggs. In this case is a clownfish, which is taking care of their eggs there. And one particularity of the eggs of the fish is that they have an impermeable shell. So if they are taken out of the water, they get dry and they die. Something interesting about fish, very interesting, is how they breathe. How do they do it? How do the gills work? Okay, so first you have here this drawing. You have water entering in the mouth. This water has dissolved oxygen which enters through the mouth. Then it goes through the gills, which extract the oxygen from the water, and it passes to the blood capillaries. So these capillaries along the gills, they take the oxygen dissolved in the water. The operculum is like a hard tissue that is covering the gills. It is protecting the gills, but also it is helping pump the water from outside the fish through the gills and then outside. Because when they are still, when they are not moving, they need something to make the water flow into their mouth. So that's what the operculum is for. And finally, the water without oxygen passes out through the operculum. So here you have more or less a photograph of the gills. Main types of fish. There are two different types of fish. You have bony fish and you have cartilaginous fish. Bony fish, they are characterized because they have a bone skeleton, they have a swim bladder, which I'm going to explain later, they have an operculum in the gills, they have an homocercal tail fin, I will explain that later also, they have a mouth at the end of the head, like this one, and they have flat, round scales covering their body. Cartilaginous fish, for instance, as the sharks or the manta rays, they have a cartilage skeleton, they don't have a swim bladder, they don't have an operculum, they have an heterocercal tail fin, they have a ventral mouth, that means that the mouth is below in the bottom part of the body, and they have thick tooth-like scales covering their body. Let's take a look first to the bony fish and the adaptations that allow them to live in the water. You have this draw with all these parts of the fish. You don't have to learn them all. The most important are the ones which are rounded here. So let's take a look. Well, when I'm talking about homocercal tail fin, homo means the same. That means that the tail, it has two lobes, one lobe here and another lobe here. Homocercal means that they are both similar, they are the same size, they are symmetrical. So you have here the swim bladder. Swim bladder is one of the adaptations. This swim bladder is a gas-filled sac that they fill or empty in order to make fish rise or sink in the water. This works like in submarines or like divers when they inflate or deflate their I don't remember the name, their gillet. So another parts which are important to remember is, well, you have the caudal fin, which in this case is homocercal because we are talking about a bony fish. You have the lateral line, you have the anal fin, which is behind the anus. You have the pelvic fin, which is just below the fish. You have the gills. You have the mouth in the front of the head. You have the operculum. And then you have the dorsal fins. So the lateral line, as I told you before, is a sensory line organ located along the side of the fish. And the operculum is this hard plate covering the gills that pumps the water. Okay? So what about cartilaginous fish adaptations? In this case, the difference is the tail is heterocercal. Hetero means different. So in this case, the tail is not symmetrical. You have a bigger lobe above and a smaller lobe below. Okay? This is what means heterocercal. You have also an anal fin, pelvic fin, and then you have these pectoral fins which are very big. Cartilaginous fish, they don't have operculum, and their mouth is located in the bottom part of the body. Okay, and then you have the dorsal fins in the upper part of the body. They don't have a swim bladder. This means that if they stop swimming, they start sinking and they go to the bottom. They have to be constantly moving, or they will fall to the bottom. Sometimes they go to the bottom just to sleep, for instance. It doesn't matter, but they don't float. They don't float. they have these pectoral fins very big. In order, this helps them. This provide them lift to counterbalance sinking. It's like a plane. They have like big wings that help them not sink so easily. And they don't have operculum because as they cannot stay still, they have to swim all the time. They don't need to pump water through the mouth, so they don't need an operculum. So some examples of fish of both types. In one side you have cartilaginous fishes, so you have sharks, you have hammer shark, you have manta rays, you have another kind of rays, and then in here you have 700 species. And bony fishes, you have this is much bigger group with 28,000 species. So you have here things like rainbow trout, you have the sea bream, the herring, the salmon. You have also the seahorse or the lionfish. You have plenty of fish, of bony fish. So we're just getting to the end. We have gone through fish, and we can update our mind map with the two kinds of fish we have seen: bony fish, cartilaginous fish. So this is everything, guys. I hope you have liked it. Oh, it didn't work. I hope you liked the presentation. So just after this, just go ahead with the test, and good luck. See you tomorrow.